Well, I think every year you're excited just to get a new year, a new start. Last year I sat and talked about how inexperienced I thought we were, and this year I think we now come back with some strong experience and young men that have had significant amount of game reps, which I think are ultimately how you get better as an individual and as a team, and looking forward to having that experience back.
On the merit of our returning players, we're going to have an absolutely potent and explosive offense. You know, we have every single member of our offensive line coming back is going to be blocking for an experienced and seasoned quarterback and a receiving core that I think is unparalleled in the league right now. So I think our offense is going to be putting points on the board like no other, and I'm excited to see them function at that capacity. Our defense, too, we have a number of guys who are coming back who are just aggressive and like violent players, and I'm just happy to see them build that chemistry. I think we've always had a strong defense so long as I've been part of this team, and I'm excited to see them continue that tradition. There's going to be a great deal of competition coming into camp, and I think that sharpens everyone. I think that's a necessity on a successful football team. So we are going to put forward a really stellar team on both sides of the ball, and I say that with complete confidence. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
He's been a winner all his life at any level, in basketball, football particularly. All the way up from being a young youth league player all the way through high school. And certainly the kind of young man that I think and believed all along could lead us to some big things. And now as a junior, I look for that to hopefully come to fruition.
I think he's coming into his own as a field general, as a good quarterback should be. So he's beginning to provide the leadership in that huddle that we need amongst the other men who are now veterans in that huddle. So I'm just excited to see what he brings to the table. I have nothing but high expectations for him.
Zweizig back, he's looking, he's headed for Mark Ross. Downfield, and Ross, did he catch it? Did he catch it? Oh my! Unbelievable! Unbelievable catch by Mark Ross!
The kid's got hands of glue. He'll be standing still in the middle of a practice field, talking to someone, or coach getting feedback, and there'll be a ball that comes whizzing by him, and he'll just basically just catch it, grab it with one hand on his fingertips. This kid's it's pretty uncanny athleticism. We've watched it on film a number of times. Almost, it bears the same shock value almost, every time we watch. He is in a tussle with, the cornerback or whoever's trying to block him, and the ball just kind of disappears into this knot of like limbs and body, and all of a sudden he just pops out with it. He just manages to reach around people to catch him. It's almost as if, this person, this object in front of him isn't even a challenge. You just move right around it to catch the ball. And I'm completely enamored with that. We all are. We watch it and just blows us away pretty consistently.
Mark's just really built himself a very strong career, kind of overlooked somewhat because not necessarily a burner, but can run very well. I think this has deceiving speed, but most importantly about him is just his size and his ability to catch a ball. We know quarterbacks know if the ball's anywhere near him, more than likely he's going to find a way to get it, and I think that's what he does. And he just continues to work extremely hard to get better. Ross Scheuerman, I think, looking forward to 100% healthy, as big and strong as he's been. Like putting a 200-plus pound tailback out there with the kind of speed that he brings to the game, and he wants to be the kick returner too. A lot of guys want to shoulder both, but so certainly those guys are strong. And then Zach Zweizig, a returning quarterback, has got 5 games under his belt, a big win over the Ivy League champion Penn, and I think that will go a long way. And a young man that I know I can depend on both on and off the field. Defensively we were, and I put less pressure on them this year, more pressure on our offense and our special teams to produce, but certainly we'll have to produce defensively. You always have to be able to play sound defense. I like the aggressiveness of our group, still a group of young men that's got a fair amount of experience. A year ago, not much experience on the linebacker side, very experienced up front. Now that switches to just the opposite. Lost 2 really all-league players in Kenai Scott and Darius Safford in secondary, but we returned, I think, a very strong group headed up by Jared Roberts, who just continues to get better in the size and length and athleticism of that young man, along now with a year under his belt, brings some real strength to our secondary. Well, we certainly got to be able to finish off the season. People talking about, well, how can you play better at the end? And I said, well, maybe we shouldn't play so well in the beginning so we can play well at the end. It's, the bottom line is it's week to week, game to game. You got to have a little bit of good fortune, which I can say honestly we didn't really have much, and the injury bug and the lack of depth showed up. But I think we're in a better situation to handle that. Hey, it's a matter of looking forward and not at last year, but staying focused, and that requires great leadership of a senior class that I think this year particularly is very strong.